Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Monica Joe with Tribes by OpenAmplify. Welcome to the webinar Salesforce Foundation Users Getting Started with Social Customer Care. Let's take a look at the agenda for what Brad and Mark have in store for us during this session.
We'll be hearing about the good work of the Salesforce Foundation and the importance of customer service to nonprofit and foundations, the role of social in customer care, social as an opportunity, and also getting started some great solutions for Salesforce.com. Lastly, delivering that all-important ROI. So without delay, I'd like to turn it over to Brad.
Thank you very much, Monica, and welcome to all of you on this webinar, which Mark and I are very excited about delivering. Some of you I know that are registered are existing Salesforce customers, and many are not. So apologies for those of you who know about the Salesforce Foundation already, but I'd like to give you a quick summary of our philanthropic model. So since its inception 15 years ago, Salesforce has always had a philanthropic model whereby we give 1% of all our employees' time, 1% of our equity in money and shares, and 1% of our product, our actual software licenses, free of charge to non-profits and charities. Over those 15 years, that has accumulated in 624,000 hours of employee service given to charities. So each employee, like myself and all my 15,000 colleagues in Salesforce globally, are able to give up to 6 days per year to any charity which they personally choose as a volunteer. And this is paid time, not taken out of their annual leave. On the equity and money side, we have now given over $65 million in grants to various charities around the world to help them further their cause. And it's an interesting fact, the final thing on the right there, that of our over 100,000 customers which Salesforce has globally, 22,000 of those are actually non-profit organizations. So this 1-1-1 model, as we call it, has been working very well and continues to grow and be very successful, both for ourselves, but benefits people like yourselves running charities and non-profits. At the bottom of this slide, you can see that this model has been adopted actually by a number of other tech and associated companies like Google, Box, Aperio, and various other tech companies, which is a real testament to the fact that it works well and it is sustaining. Any monies which are paid by yourselves for additional licenses over those which we donate are paid for at a highly discounted rate, and that money does not go into Salesforce's P&L, into our bottom line as profit for us. It instead feeds this 1-1-1 model, which means we can sustain and continue to deliver benefit to the charity and non-profit community. If you go to the next slide, please, Monica. What Salesforce does across all of its customers is surveys. In this case, this year we surveyed 4,100 customers across a number of our various products to see what the return on investment is and what benefits and improvements those customers have seen. In the case of succeeding across service metrics, the customer satisfaction which our clients have enjoyed by using our technology, these are the averages from those 4,100 surveyed this year. This is an independent survey carried out by Confirm It for us. So you can see that there's almost 40% customer retention was reported by those customers on average, that their cost to support their business in the service area decreased by about 40%. The staff were more productive, again around 40%, and there was 42% of cases were resolved more quickly. Now this is quite relevant and sets the scene for what Mark is going to talk to you about with Tribes and what I'm going to help him discuss with you on how Tribes can help social media connections to help you give a better service to your customers. So I'll hand over now to Mark for the next slide. Thank you, Monica.
Thanks, Brad, and hi everyone. Welcome from San Francisco. I'm one of the founders of OpenAmplify, who develop one of the products we're going to look at today. And I sit here on the West Coast to run the West Coast side of the business. So that's a little bit of context for you. And I want to just, there's a couple of ideas I want to float to kind of set the scene here. And the first is, I think it's a valid question. It's like, so is customer service actually important to non-profits? And I think the answer to that clearly is yes. And when you look at, the kind of mission that charities and non-profits have, clearly there's a big thrust about meeting expectations, right? So, whether your constituents are volunteers or donors, they have expectations, and we believe that customer service, whatever you call it, the concept of customer service is really important to meeting those and being, trusted and responsive and in some ways very personal with all your constituents. And I think there's a second aspect to this, which is about achieving, your own goals. And we know, speaking to non-profits, that man, there's some big targets and big expectations here on kind of how you run the business, and there's just some rigor and process that we think really benefits that. And there's a concept. We work a lot with Salesforce and a lot with Salesforce customers, and there's this concept of in the enterprise of customers for life. And we actually think there's a great parallel with that, which is in the non-profit world, which is this concept of constituents for life. Where when you invest time and effort to bring people into the fold, you've got to keep them. And I think that translates well from enterprise across to non-profit. So if customer service is important, the question is, what's the role of social? And I know that's why a lot of people are tuning into this today. And obviously, this is what we do, right? Social customer service is kind of our thing. So when we look at the role of social specifically, I'm going to give you some interesting stats. And these are from various sources. Some of them are shown at the bottom of the screen here, but they're pretty compelling, right? So in recent surveys in the last kind of 12 months, 77% of people actually acknowledge that they think social is going to become the leading customer service channel. So obviously people lift the phone, yep, that happens, but 77% of people think that social is going to become like the leading way to communicate with brands. And nearly 60% of consumers will switch brands to get better service, right? So if they're not getting what they want, people are going to look elsewhere. Another interesting stat. Nearly 75% of consumers say that they spend more. And when I say more, it's like 20% more with businesses where they experience good service. It's like around 21% is what the research tells us. So a lot of people, appreciate good service by spending more money. And this is kind of the where it gets a little bit daunting, but a massive 81% of Twitter users expect the same-day response from companies. Now, same day, okay, that gives you some time. Well, about 50% of those 81 expect it in an hour. Okay, so this is what's happening out there, right? When it comes to people's use of social, expectations are rising. And I think we all know that, because we experience it ourselves, right? But just great service is a great way to build loyalty and trust. And, in non-profit space where, your mission is really important and loyalty and trust are such critical components, I don't think it's a big leap to say that, great service is a real contributor to that. And what we're seeing, we work across the whole enterprise spectrum, but what we're seeing is that enterprise companies really are leading the way here. The best companies are making social customer care a priority. So, a lot of Salesforce's, huge customers for Salesforce here in the US, but in the UK as well, a lot of great businesses are really taking this seriously. And I think that's testament to some of the statistics at the top of the page. Now this is interesting, right? For non-profit perspective, Say Media last year published this ladder of engagement. And this is specifically for charities and non-profits, right? And it's about the escalation of kind of trust that takes you from when people become aware of a cause through to like engagement and donation. And this is cool. I like this. And obviously, it shows a pretty steady progression from one phase of the kind of engagement right up to the point where they're actually donating money. But this chart doesn't tell the whole story, because the reality is, in each of these phases, when you are talking to your constituents, whether they're volunteers or donors, or sponsoring companies. But this is actually a dialogue. It's becoming a dialogue. And I think, the way that, to expect it to be a linear progression from liking to engaging to donating, it doesn't really work like that anymore. And there's a dialogue in each of these phases. And this is customer service at work, right? This is it. This is where customer service has a very, very practical role to play in the non-profit kind of space. So you've worked hard, you're doing a great job, you're maximizing your resources, and you've moved this guy, right? You've got him. And I think the key is you don't want to lose him. So, that's kind of what's at stake here. This is a funny picture. I love this picture because it actually, it's an old adage, right? That every problem is also an opportunity. Yeah, that's we've all heard that one. But it's quite funny, right? Because I actually think that the things this guy's trying to carry on his trike, actually, it kind of feels like social media conversations because there's a lot of them, and it sort of feels like it's a balancing act, and it's a question of can you actually kind of wrestle all these things to the finish when all these things are the mass of social conversation. So I thought it was a great picture. But look, with social, I think we encourage people to not see social as a threat, right? Don't see it as a problem. It's actually a great opportunity. And if when managed correctly, social can do a number of things. And the first is it can really enhance your mission. It can. So, being able to facilitate easier and faster engagements with your constituents is what social can do. And in terms of nurturing relationships, we can build these constituents for life. And that it really is important because so much effort goes into the front end of the process to engage the person. And social customer care can help nurture those relationships and really make sure that the person is bought into your mission for life. And once we've enhanced your mission, also, social can really enhance your brand. Brands are defined by the people and how they behave, right? So we see strongly from talking to customers and partners that we've got to meet these expectations. And if you do this right, not only can we enhance your mission, but it can really reflect positively on your brand. So look, that's all great, right? So I've just given you 7 minutes on why this stuff's important, and I hope that most people listening to this will be saying, okay, yeah, I agree, but how the heck do I do it? Because the reality is, as we know in the kind of non-profit space, is you don't have a lot of resources, you don't have a lot of time, you've got limited budgets, and I think, whilst enterprise is proving to be a great role model for like how effective it can be. Your reality is you're not KLM, right? You're not Bank of America. So the question is, how do we actually do it? And I think the whole purpose of this webinar is to show you guys that there are some great solutions available on Salesforce.com today. Now, and it's just not hard to get started. And the thing that Salesforce is a brilliant platform for extensibility. There are so many. I lose track of how many apps there are now in the App Store, but there's just so many ways to extend Salesforce and to make it a highly engaging and productive platform. And there's two things I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you about today. But basically, if you want to do social on Salesforce.com, social customer care, there's a couple of major kind of products that are available to you. Now, the first is this is Salesforce Radian6. Some of you might be aware of this product. It's an awesome product for what we refer to as like a full service listening. So if you need like the full Monty of listening, media monitoring, and kind of analysis, Radian6 is like absolute best of breed solution. Salesforce actually acquired Radian6 3 years ago, and they've it's the kind of listening solution for social that covers just thousands of sources, right? We're talking tens of millions of pieces of content every week, and it's a full platform for monitoring and analysis. So if you really need to get deep, if you really want to, if you've got a team of people who can who can really leverage the power of it, it's an incredible tool. You know, you need to integrate it, which places some demands on kind of the IT organization. But like I said, super tool. Now, my company, Tribes, we're a partner of Salesforce. We have been for the past 3 years. And, you know, we are helping them. We actually deliver technology into the Radian6 bundle. So, you know, we place our technology in different parts of the Salesforce ecosystem. But we also have got some apps which we've developed for very focused missions, right? And Tribes, which is a great social customer care solution, you know, is very, where Radian6 has a very broad scope, Tribes is really quite focused, okay? What we do with Tribes is it's a customer care solution which does not require integration. It's an app-based solution. And it focuses very tightly on Twitter and Facebook, because we believe that the majority of customers, like that's where everyone starts, right? You don't need, you know, right now you might not need tens of thousands of sources. Maybe, you know, but Twitter and Facebook is where everything's happening. So Tribes is a solution, and that's what I'm actually going to show you guys now. So, you know, in terms of just explaining Tribes, what it does, so imagine this, right? You've got in your Salesforce platform, we can suck in all the Twitter and Facebook conversations, everything, okay? So, and this could be, depending on the size of your business, it could be 100 conversations, it could be 1,000, it could be 20,000. We have clients that are processing literally tens of thousands of comments every single day. But basically, we bring this into into the Tribes app, and that runs on this thing called natural language processing, which is, I'm not going to go into the technology right now in any depth, but it's really clever, right? What it does is we actually read all those comments. We got a computer, we've got a large cloud computing infrastructure and very clever technology, and it reads all of those comments. And what it says is that the whole purpose of Tribes is it says, right, which of these comments do I need to look at? Which ones are important? And we do that with technology, right? Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to let technology take the place of people. So if you don't have 1, 5, 10 people to read Facebook and Twitter every day, do we have a piece of software that can read it and say, okay, guys, when it comes to social customer care, these are the important things we need to look at. So you know, it's kind of a cool diagram, but, you know, we got like a load of blah going into one end, and the important stuff comes out the other. And that is the principle of Tribes. So when it comes to the actual constructs, I'm going to show you it right now. We're going to dive in and look. But basically, you've got a component that which is a Salesforce app, which brings in the Twitter and Facebook conversations. And you know, the research from Dartmouth this year says that 92% of non-profits have Facebook pages, and 86% of them have Twitter accounts, right? So this is where the action is. And we basically suck in the conversations, Tribe processes them, and what happens is, you know, your cases, right, the things that really matter are the result, and they are automatically populated in Salesforce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, I'll show you how simple it is to set it up now. And very importantly, I mean, this is a very affordable solution. So I know a lot of people that have logged in today from the UK. You know, these are dollar numbers, but just for a couple of $100 a month, right? We can deliver social customer care into Salesforce. So let's take a look. I'm going to just escape out of this. I'm going to go to my browser. So we're now in my Salesforce instance, right? This is a demo instance. It's just for the purposes of doing things like this. And the first app I'm going to show you is basically the Salesforce for social media app. So if you were to go to the App Exchange where all of the apps are, you will see here that the app Salesforce to Twitter and Facebook. This is a free app, guys. Okay. So basically, and it's developed by Salesforce. And what this does is it allows you to connect like Twitter and Facebook to Salesforce. And the result of that is when you, if you install the app, you're basically going to see down here, I've got it installed, you know, I've loaded it up here, but you'll see it on the menu. And what happens then is once you've installed this app, is there's quite a simple configuration, right? So what it allows you to do in the setup screen here is do a few things. number one, you can add your Twitter account, right? Now, we've added our OpenAmplify account here. I can't obviously add, like, I can't grab a non-profit's Twitter account to show you, because obviously I don't have authentication privileges. But you could, you know, if you have a Twitter account, you can add it here. And then what that says is that now anything that's posted to Twitter is going to arrive in Salesforce, and I'll show you that in just a second. So that's one great way you can connect. The second thing is there's a keyword search, right? So this is pretty cool, because on Twitter you can actually do things like if you just want to search for keywords that are relevant to your business or to your campaigns, you can do that. And it's going to do the same thing. It's going to bring those conversations into Salesforce so we can actually start to play with it. And the same thing with Facebook, right? And it's pretty obvious, but you can connect your Facebook page. And all of these require authentication, so it's simple. Salesforce will take you through the process. You just connect the page. It's going to ask you to log in, username, password. So what happens when you've done that is basically in this tab, so we're still in the Salesforce for Social Media app here, in the tab called Conversations, here are all your social conversations, right? So depending on what you've got running, whether you've got keywords running or whether you've connected your Twitter accounts, everything posted is landing here, okay, in Salesforce. Now, you know, in the functionality that Salesforce have built in here, you can do some really cool stuff, right? If you say, okay, look at this, this Kim. Okay, Kim said something. I need to create Kim as a contact. You just click, okay, and create a contact, and Kim will magically arrive in your contacts list. You know, you can basically do, you know, whether you want to reply in the platform or whether you want to, you know, grab different pieces of Twitter data, but it's all here. And so it's a very useful place to start. You know, it's just such a positive thing to be able to bring your social environment into actually into Salesforce, where a lot of your work gets done. Now, but here's the sort of challenge. There's a lot of stuff, right? So I mean, we've been running this for a couple of days for the purposes of this webinar. We've got thousands and thousands of posts in here. So whilst this is cool, it's like the Tribes is going to add something really special to this. Because what happens basically with Tribes, so that's another app. So remember, we're talking about two apps here that you install together. Tribes is the second app. Now this does something that basically, there's no interface here. All you do with Tribes is you kind of install it and start it. And what it does is it sits on top of all of those Facebook and Twitter comments, right? And it reads them all. So we've got it's a piece of technology that is going to just sit there and read and understand every single post from Twitter or Facebook that flies in. And what it's going to do is it's going to automatically create cases. So from, I'm just going to load up a different view here that I've got prepared. But basically, from all of those thousands and thousands of comments that have come in through Twitter and Facebook, basically, Tribes has decided which ones are important, which ones are customer care issues, right? Because that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about the social customer care comments where, like, you really need to do something about it, okay? Because so much of the social conversation is interesting, but not necessarily actionable. And with Tribes, what it does is it says, you know what, don't worry. We're going to sit on top of this, and when we find something that's important, we're going to create it. We're going to create it as a case directly. So you can see here, you know, this is, I'll just click this one. This is, you can see that they're from Twitter and Facebook, right? So let's just look at this one. Michael Nolan, you know, terrible job with Sandy at the Red Cross. Let's see if I donate again. Okay, yeah. So the search here was Red Cross, right? So if you're in the Red Cross, this guy's kind of stressed out, right? This is not helping your brand. To have people out there in Twitter making comments like this, not helpful. And what Tribes has done is it has identified from the whole stream, thousands of comments, the ones that you need to look at, and it's created cases. And Salesforce is such a powerful case management tool that this is where the process begins. It's a fantastic way to feel like you're in control of your social stream. Because as we talked about at the start of the call, You know, you want to be in control of this because it's important. You know, social is important. You know, closing your ears and shutting your eyes to this stuff doesn't help. You want to feel empowered and in control, and that's exactly what the Tribes app does. And I mean, we can see many examples here, but you know, here's an interesting one. It's a Facebook post. But, you know, this is someone with a question, right? So he's not angry. This person just wants to know what you know, like some information. You need to get back to this guy. This is good stuff. You know, you need to focus here. And so what we've just showed are two apps that are very simple to install from the App Exchange that basically do a cool thing. They suck in Twitter and Facebook, which, by the way, is where 90% of the social engagement happens. It's going to bring those into Salesforce. That's the Salesforce for Twitter and Facebook app. And then Tribes is going to turn that stream, that flood of data, and pick the most important things and turn them into cases. Now, you know, these are, when you get into the detail of like managing cases, what we've created here is standard case objects. So basically, it's very, very simple to manage these proactively, to close the case, to generate all the statistics. We don't have time to go into that right now, but it's what we've created here is just a great start point for engagement. So I'm conscious of time, and I'm just going to step back out into the presentation for a second. So like I said, you know, what we've just looked at is this construct. So the app on the left, okay, that is the one that's going to suck in all of the data, and the Tribes app is the one that's going to take that data and prioritize it for you. And these two things together, very simple to set up. I can get anyone up and running in this with both apps in under 30 minutes, okay? Just simple stuff. And that's kind of the whole point of the App Exchange. It is plug and play technology. And, you know, it's at a price point where it's like, this isn't a thousands and thousands of dollars decision. No, it's a few $100 a month to be able to do something really useful. So, and just, you know, my final point here is, I know very close to everyone's heart, which is like, yeah, but, you know, how's this going to pay back? What are we going to do? And in terms of ROI, there's a great, you know, I came across this statistic, and, you know, it's from the 2012 social networking benchmark reports, and they actually kind of put a numerical value on like a Facebook like. And it's kind of arbitrary, right? So you could, I mean, we could talk for, you know, hours and hours about whether or not this is a kind of a valid metric. But, you know, they said, well, having done all the research, we think that when somebody likes you on Facebook over the following year, that person could be worth like over $200 to you. And I think that's just a fun thing to keep in the back of your mind, because we believe there's three areas as a non-profit where you know, getting in control of social or introducing social can really deliver a strong ROI. And the first is this concept of steady state. So, you know, you are a non-profit, you're a charity, you're always on, right? 24/7, 365, and we know that social is happening. And for all the reasons we've just talked about, whether you're nurturing relationships, whether you're meeting expectations, or whether, you know what, you're just not dropping the ball, it's like Tribes can help you stay on top of what really matters. So that's kind of the steady state piece. You know, we actually been looking for a number of kind of clients recently, and there's actually a lot of engagement on social around like merchandising. Now, whether that merchandising is around ticket sales or whether it's around actual kind of products that are sold in shops. You know, a lot of charities have very strong retail kind of arms, whether they're selling T-shirts or you know, it doesn't matter what the products are. You know, if you can, you know, when people are reaching out on social, like, oh, I've tried to buy this, it didn't work. You know, I can't check out. I don't understand what's happened. You know, you've got to find that stuff, right? And I think you quickly get to a point where we can't put people in the room to make sure we don't miss that stuff. You need to use technology, and that's where things like Tribes can be awesome, because we'll find those for you. We'll make sure that, you know, when people have issues, we'll highlight them, we'll bring them to you. We'll make a case and put it right in front of you when it counts. And of course, you know, happy customers are good customers, right? So that's the second area. And of course, the bit that, you know, I mean, we need to be aware of this, but in a crisis, you know, then these kind of technologies really kick off. So, and really come into their own. And, you know, what Tribes does for brands where, you know, there's something that's blown up, is it allows you clear prioritization. So, you know, and we've seen it time and time again, when something, you know, kicks off, if you've got, you know, 100,000 pieces of social content, you know, that are flying around, there's a small, you know, there's probably 10% of it that actually is really critical that you understand, that you get ahead of. And again, Tribes is awesome at that, right? Because we can, you know, where our technology is able to tell, this is the most critical thing that you're dealing with today. This is the most negative sentiment. This person needs help. This person is flaming. This, you know, all of the indicators, Tribes can find those, and that's about maximizing resources. So, you know, when something kicks off, you've got to use every moment to its maximum. And you know, we don't want to. I don't want to talk about crises because it's you know it's intimidating and daunting. But safe to say, if you find yourself in that position, technology like Tribes can be a fantastic way to be able to stay on top. So you can, you know, and the whole point when, you know, this webinar is entitled like getting started, right? You can get started right now. We are doing implementations of Tribes for customers, and like I say, we're up and running in minutes, not hours, not days. You know, this doesn't take a month for you to be up and running and see something work. It takes, you know, like 30 minutes. So if you, depending on, you know, as I think Brad said at the start, some people on the call are going to have Salesforce, some aren't. If you want Salesforce for your nonprofit, if you want to explore Salesforce, contact Brad. He's your guy. Obviously, Brad's in the UK. You know, he can help you through all of the trials you need, getting set up and getting started. So Brad's the guy for that. When it comes to Tribes, it's an app on the App Exchange, right? So for those of you who are familiar with Salesforce, just go to the App Exchange and you can grab your trial. Like all apps there, we've got a 30-day kind of free trial period. We will support you as best we can during that trial process. So go and grab it. There's absolutely nothing stopping you. And you know, there's something that I want to kind of put out there now. I'm excited actually talking to Brad about the foundation and the work you're doing, and I think it would be great. So, you know, we would love to be able to help people kind of get up and running and build some great use cases, because it sounds like such a cool kind of such a cool opportunity to engage with great brands. And you know, for the first 10 nonprofits that reach out to me, you know, we will do the free consultancy and setup. So basically, if you're watching this and you're still a little bit intimidated, don't be. We can, you know, I will, for the first 10 that reach out, we'll get you up and running. We will personally, handhold you through the setup and make sure you get up and running easily. We offer a discount for nonprofits. The pricing's kind of, I mean, we think it's very, very aggressively priced. So I can't give huge discounts, but of course we'd love to give discounts to nonprofits, and take advantage of the free consultancy, right? Reach out to me and we'll help you through it. So, I mean, Brad, do you? I don't know if there's anything. I've motored through this. We're on time, which is great. Not sure if there's any specific comments to what I've talked about, Brad, but if not, do you want to just bring this home back to the foundation? Yeah, sure. Thanks very much for doing a good job of that, Mark. Really appreciate it. So just to reiterate, there is a great 1-1-1 model out there. Some of you are sort of part of that club now as it stands, and some of you we hope can join and help, you know, sustain, grow, and continue the Salesforce Foundation's efforts to help people in this sector. So
I definitely will join in with Tribes and OpenAmplify in supporting the people that come forward who want to try out Tribes, and give my support here locally in the UK to those who've dialed in from the UK. So that's us wrapped up. I think let's hand over back to Monica to see if we've got any questions and see how we answer some of the questions that have come in. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Brad and Mark. We do have a handful of questions to get to. Excuse me. So the first one, and feel free to chime in, do I need to buy Service Cloud licenses to use Tribes?
Okay. I'll take that one if that's okay, Mark.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yep. So basically, those who don't know, you can get a donation of our Sales Cloud or CRM. 10 CRM Enterprise Edition licenses will be donated to registered UK charities and social enterprises. The Service Cloud is kind of a superset of our Sales Cloud. It has some extra features and function, but the answer is no. You do not need to buy the Service Cloud license. If you have Service Cloud already, if you're an existing Salesforce customer, then Tribes will work fine with that. But for those who've got the pure donation or only CRM, then the answer is no. There's an object called case in the CRM Sales Cloud, and that works fine with the integration with Tribes. So no, you don't need to buy Service Cloud.
And just to add on to that, Monica, the short demo I showed to people, that's just in a standard kind of CRM org. So there's no Service Cloud implemented on the demo I've just showed you. So just to reinforce Brad's point.
Cool. The next one's for you, Mark. What languages is Tribes available in?
So the technology that powers Tribes is actually kind of pretty complicated. So it's English language only. Now I appreciate, for some non-profits and large charities, dealing with lots of social comments in lots of languages, that's not ideal. But right now it's English language only. It quickly gets very, very complicated trying to do the kind of analysis that we do on those posts. The way we decide that a post is like a customer care issue, that requires very deep kind of deep text analysis, and it's English only right now.
Great. And as a reminder, someone is asking, what is the cost of Tribes per seat or per license? If you could review that, Mark or Brad.
Yeah. So I'm from the yeah. So let me just take it step by step. The Salesforce for Social Media app, which is the one that actually sucks the Facebook and Twitter comments into Salesforce. That's a free app, right? That's developed by Salesforce, by the internal team at Salesforce. So if you go to App Exchange, you can grab that for nothing. That is a freebie, and we would expect that to remain free forever, because I think that's the mission there. Now Tribes starts from $299 a month, but really importantly, especially if you're a Salesforce user, that is a company license, right? So it's not per seat. So you don't need to think about, oh no, I've got 10 people using Salesforce, so I need to multiply that by 10. You don't. It's a one time cost for whole company. So starting about at $299 a month, and if you are a charity with a really significant volume of social data, you will pay more than if you are a small charity that has a lower volume, because the pricing is kind of tiered by the volume of social posts. But reach out, get in contact. I can walk you through it. The whole point here is we're trying to make it accessible. We don't want this to be a difficult decision for people. We want to get people engaged in social. So hopefully we've priced it so many people can experience some really positive social kind of customer care in Salesforce.
Great, thanks for that. And if you could also, one or both of you could go over what is the relationship or the difference between Tribes and Radian6?
Shall I take that one, Brad?
Yeah, okay.
I think I kind of alluded to it on the slide earlier, and obviously people can grab the deck when we post it. You know, Radian6 is just a super powerful tool for doing, you know, what we refer to as full service listening. So, you know, if you need to do listening across blogs, for example, or, you know, you need to do, you know, you need to listen for mentions of your company in the news, or you need to, you know, you need to do really sophisticated analysis of comments and, you know, and deep dive analysis on kind of what people are talking about, then Radian6 is fantastic for that. It is a, you know, it is a large enterprise tool, and it's very powerful. And of course, you know, and there's some complexity with it, right? Because it's so powerful. I mean, that's kind of how it works. Now, so it tends to be geared towards larger customers who have, you know, like a broader requirement in terms of listening. Now, with Tribes, it's very focused. I hope I showed that on the demo. It's like what the Tribes is going to sit there, and it's going to look at your Twitter and Facebook stream, and it's going to find the stuff that's really important. It's, you know, it's very focused in that way. It is not a full service listening solution. It isn't. You know, if you want to know what's happening on CNN, Tribes can't help you with that, because Tribes is looking at Twitter and Facebook. But the good thing is, you know, 90% of the stuff that really counts for charities and non-profits, we believe, is on Twitter and Facebook. And actually, that's the same for companies. I mean, so much of their social campaigns are focused at Twitter and Facebook. So we believe that's where, you know, that's kind of where you need to step off. And, you know, it's Tribes is just a very focused way to kind of get into that.
Great. And apropos to the topic here at hand, someone would like to know if OpenAmplify or Tribes have a UK presence for support.
We have basically a support channel that is 24/7, right? So, and on the App Exchange, actually, like if you download the app, you'll have access to all the information. But, you know, we have telephone numbers that you can call 24/7 if there are issues. Our actual support, however, is based on UK time. So if you're on East Coast US time. So in the UK, we can help you via email on a kind of one-to-one basis, and via phone if necessary, kind of starting from lunchtime. But we, you know, we have to, our physical support presence is based on East Coast US time.
Excellent. Let's wait a few moments to see if any more questions come in. And Mark, actually, it might be a good idea to dial back to the contact information slide while we wait for a few minutes, and to look for those two apps that Mark mentioned in the Salesforce App Exchange. You can look for the Salesforce for Twitter and Facebook, and for Tribes, just simply search Tribes in the search, or you can grab the link from this presentation. Any last thoughts here? Because it looks like that will do it for questions.
Yeah, I think, I mean, on the slide that's on screen right now, you know, follow Brad, follow myself, or OpenAmplify on Twitter. There's lots of great things, you know, about social that we are sharing all the time. You know, this is, I guess the one, you know, the one thing that I want to end with is, like, you know, dive in, right? You know, we speak to customers the whole time, and they're amazed at how easy it is to actually, like, get into the conversation. No pun intended. But you know, we have some great apps. You know, we're working very closely with Salesforce to make sure that we're developing things that are useful. And you know, with Tribes, great way for you at very, very low cost to actually kind of start to make social. You know, start to make social. You know, an important part of this idea of nurturing your customers. So hopefully we've shown in the last 45 minutes that there's some really positive ways to kind of jump in.
Excellent. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. And this concludes our program.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.